So how is my AVA P70 pressure washer holding up long term? Is it still going strong or is it falling apart? All that to come up in this video, so let's get into it. So yes, I got this machine in December 2022, and so I've had it around a year and a half now, and I was kindly gifted this by the AVA company. Now, the AVA company haven't asked me to do this video, they haven't asked me to do a review on it or a long-term review. It's just something I wanted to do personally and just give back to the viewers and just give my opinion on this long-term and how it's been working. So as always, I try and be honest and open about everything, and I'll obviously be open and honest in this review video. So as I've had this long-term, I've obviously come across a few things that I've found with it, and I'm going to go through the good and the bad with this machine. So when you're paying a lot of money for a pressure washer, you want something that's going to work for a long time. And I've put this through its paces. I mean, I've used this continuously to wash different cars, and you'd have seen different videos on my channel of these different cars that I've washed. There's been quite a few, and the pressure washer has always been used throughout them videos. And also I've cleaned my own house and patio area 2 or 3 times since I've had this pressure washer, so I've been using it long term for that. So if I'm being honest, I have tried to make this pressure washer break. I've tried to do as much as I can to see how it actually works in the real world, and if you put it through its paces, is it going to last? You'd have seen other videos that I've done on this pressure washer, so you'd have seen a first impressions video that I've done, and you can go and check that out. I'll put a link to the description below for that one. So that sort of gives you a bit about the machine and what it's about, and also gives you a bit of information about the machine if you're thinking about buying one. And then I've done a 4-month sort of update video based on this machine, the pros and cons, and it just goes over a few little things that I like about it and the little things I don't. And I'll go over them a little bit in this video as well, but this is more about how it's actually worked long term. So let's dive into the machine and talk a little bit more detail about all the good things about this machine, and later on I'll talk about a few of the bad things and a few things I've noticed with this machine. So the first thing I want to talk about is actually the stubby gun that this machine comes with. Now, this is a really good stubby gun. It's really strong. It's lasted really well. You can see the condition that it's in at the moment. It's, you know, it's quite marked and damaged. It's been dropped, it's been scraped on the ground, and it works really well, and all the connectors connect up really well with it. You can actually lock them in if you want, and personally I never really lock them in. You can do that to obviously stop them from pinging out, but if you're like me and you're washing a lot of cars continuously, you're not really going to bother locking it in. And I just found that you don't really need that on it. It's not something that I use much, but overall this actual stubby gun is really good. You've got a trigger on the finger that obviously helps you maintain pressure, but very lightly, so it stops your hand from getting fatigued when you're doing a lot of car washes in a day or using it regular. It's a really good little touch on the machine, and the quality of this stubby gun is really good. I've also put the reel through its paces and really pulled on it, stretched it. I've run over it with a car, and nothing's broken on it. I've pulled on it from here for a long time, and it stays all connected. It doesn't leak water. So a year and a half of use, it's still no water leaking from this area. All these are in good condition. They're really strong. They do get a little bit tangled up, so I wouldn't say they're anti-kink or anti-knot in up. They say that on the website that they won't do that, but they do slightly. They do get kinked up sometimes, and you know, you just got to be wary that you need to stretch the cable out a little bit. Sometimes it will get caught up, so just be aware of that. But overall, this actual reel is so strong, you can bend it and it just goes back to its shape. Run it over with a car a few times and it just keeps going. It's a very strong reel, and I don't think you'll be able to break this very easy. I also like the quality of the build of the actual handles and stuff. They're all metal, they're all solid. You know, it's all stayed together, it hasn't broken, there's been no plastic breaks on the machine. The actual quality of the plastics is really good, it's very strong. So I had no problems with the machine overall on the plastic side, everything's still intact. I've made it fall over a few times by pulling it and seeing how it lasts if it gets knocked over. I've transported it around in my car. It's been around a lot, and it's still going solid. It's been out in all weathers, so it's been raining and it's had water on it. I've just left it out and obviously carried on washing the cars in the rain, and hasn't broken or nothing's gone wrong with it in that way. So yeah, fair play to AVA there. It's a very solid machine. So obviously, like I said, I've been cleaning my patio a few times with this pressure washer. I recently cleaned all the patio after the winter, and I was probably on this machine for about 6 hours continuously. So what happened at the end, this little blue plasticky insert actually came out. So when you're using the patio tool, you have to put it into the extended part of the pressure washer. You can't just put it straight into the stubby gun, it needs to go onto this one. So you put it in and it goes in okay now, but it actually leaks water out the side, so I think the plastic bit has worn. So ever since it's fell out, it's actually worn, so I'm going to have to go and buy a new one of these. So this has actually broken on me. Now it's not obviously a big problem, these things can happen, and it's just something to be aware of. If you're using it continuously, some things will wear and tear, so probably these plastic inserts is probably not the strongest thing for something that's giving a lot of pressure out. So I'll have to buy another one because I do use this a lot for cleaning my patio, but it's just something to be aware of that's happened to me. So another little issue that I had with the machine that I thought was an issue personally at the start, and I spoke to AVA and they cleared it up that it's not an actual issue with the machine, it can happen over a lot of use of the machine, is that you may have noticed if you watch my videos that when you let go of the trigger, so say you're actually washing your car, you've got your trigger held, you let go, there's like this squeaky little noise at the end, like it's an air release or water release or something. Now this didn't happen at first, and they said this is actually normal of the pump, and over time it can do that. Obviously you have to service these machines, you know, and keep them maintained, so I probably would be due a service on this, and I probably would have to service this soon because I'm using it a lot more than the regular user. But just something to be aware of, that you may get some noises from this, and as long as it's working, it's not leaking, it's doing its normal thing, these are normal noises. It's just something to be aware of, because at first I thought, you know, there's actually a problem with this machine, and I did get frustrated and I did get annoyed that it happened probably about 6 months to 8 months into using this machine, which wasn't long, but then I had been using it quite a lot for different activities. So just something to be aware of, that if it starts making a noise like this is actually normal of the machine. So obviously now having it long term, you may ask, is there anything I've sort of changed on this machine that I didn't like? Now there's a couple of things that I feel that could be better, and these were mentioned in my 4-month review, so they're just sort of probably a follow on from that. So one of them is the actual reel. Now you only get a 10-meter reel with this. Now I think a 15-meter reel would be more beneficial for a more expensive machine. So there's some cheaper machines out there with a longer reel than this, so personally I think this should be 15mm. Now you can upgrade the machine to a longer reel. It's easy to detach this reel and then put a new hose in there, but then I don't think you should if the machine is costing that much money. So that's just my opinion on it, that you feel you should really get a 15-meter reel. The other thing you may have noticed is that I wrap my actual cable around the actual machine and not reel it back in with the actual winding bit. This is because it really frustrates me, and I find this actually a really not the best design, and I don't like it at all. I prefer one that you can wrap around, because you can easily, when you're, you know, for example, you're busy, you're doing multiple cars in a day, or you've got, you know, you're doing a lot of work with the pressure washer, you've got it out. At the end of the day, when you're really tired, you're not going to want to be reeling this in, because it's a nightmare to try and fit the plug in the hole, and then you've got to try and reel it back in, and it goes in the opposite way that you'd normally. So I don't really like that. Now I mentioned it on my 4-month review as well, and I think, you know, like the Henry Hoovers where it's in a reel and you reel it in. I think that personally would be better than you trying to put the cable back in this way. But that's just my personal preference on the machine, that I don't like it. So what I do is I just wrap it around the machine. It's quick and easy for me to unwrap next time. And you'd see that there's other pressure washers that have that sort of wraparound cable. So for me, I don't understand why they have done this on this machine. Obviously they're trying something new, but I just don't like it personally. And the only other thing I would say about things I don't really like is that you'll see that this is the upgraded snow foam cannon with the actual brass part on it. Now when you get this machine, you get the basic actual snow foam cannon, which I think you should really get this one at least. Now with the other pressure washers company, there's so many different add-ons you can get now, and they have really good snow foam cannon that I highly recommend. And you just seen that I've done a review video on that as well, and I'll put a link to that as well, and I'm just going to put on the screen of that review. Now that cannon is superb. You get 3 bottles with it. It's probably my favourite snow foam cannon on the market now, because I can, one, put different products in each one, have them lined up. I don't have to change to a different connector for my MJJC. So if I'm using my MJJC, I have to put this on and change it over, because they're all on quick release. Whereas the other one, fits straight on there. Also, it's compatible with Karcher, so that's another bonus. So yeah, I really rate the snow foam cannon that you can buy as an add-on, and I think it's pretty fair, well priced for that. You get 3 bottles. While we're talking about accessories, I just want to give a good thumbs up for this bucket. Now you may think it's just a bucket, but I really rate this bucket. It's very good. It does everything I need it to do. I can also stand on it, I can also sit on it. So if I'm doing vehicles that are a little bit higher, I stand on top of this to get onto the roofs, and I find it really good. It does actually do what it says on the actual front. It keeps the water much cleaner, so it says 60% cleaner, which I found if you've got a washman that's got a bit of dirt on it, it does sort of keep the dirt at the bottom, so when you take off the actual, this part of the actual bucket which is inside, so the actual mesh here, when you take that out, it does keep the dirt at the bottom, and it keeps it down there. Notice that it does work, so it's a very clever design. Even if you don't have an AVA pressure washer, I definitely recommend getting this bucket. It's a very, very clever design, very useful, and I definitely recommend. So would I recommend this product? Well, I actually would. I would say that it's been really, really good. Now, obviously you're always going to find little things that you don't like about something, or you're going to have little bits of problems like I've got with this adapter. It's obviously come away, so you're going to get little problems, and these are part and parcel of using a machine regular, putting it through its paces. You're going to find stuff. But yeah, overall I've been really impressed with the AVA pressure washer, I must say. This machine is really good. I'd actually buy one of these again. I've not had no issues with it. Obviously the things I've mentioned have happened, and they're not big problems really at the end of the day, the amount of times I'm using this machine. I have a different opinion. Some people are going to have problems with these machines, some people are going to have different problems with different AVA machines. It's just part and parcel of people having bad luck with machines. It can happen, and obviously I'm going to get comments of people that have had the bad side of AVA pressure washers and bad experience, but I'd hope overall most people would have a really good experience with the AVA pressure washer. I can't really say anything bad about it. It's been really good, and I'll be continuously using it and putting it through its paces still, and hopefully in the future, if AVA want me to do more reviews, I might get a different machine to try it and put it through its paces. If there's a new type of version, I may get that to try, put it through its paces, and then feedback another review of a different pressure washer hopefully in the future. But for now, I'll be sticking with my P70, and we'll see how we get on. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. This video is just a quick review of it long term, sort of talk about the pressure washer and sort of how it's been going long term. If you want to see a video that goes more in depth, talks a bit more about the information on the pressure washer, go and check out my first impressions video. That gives you a bit more in depth about the product itself. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.